Greetings, love and peace. Today we'll be going over Marshall Zukov believes Hitler is still alive. Now I just put this post up on Instagram and immediately it was taken down. But we'll do the read through, do some demonstration in regards to other aspects of this study, and we'll see how far the freedom of speech goes. Marshall Zukov believes Hitler is still alive. Now, this newspaper clipping was released not even 60 days after they claimed that he passed form. And this is from the Marshall representative of the Soviet Union, along with Russia and America, London. Marshall Zukov, an NBC broadcast from Moscow, said this week believes that Adolf Hitler is hiding in Europe, possibly in Spain, and it is up to American and British troops to find him. The Russian war leader also said that Hitler married Eva Braun 2 days before Berlin fell. Correspondent Robert Magadoff quoted Zukov as telling correspondents in Berlin, Hitler probably waited until the last moment and then took off in a plane that was held in constant readiness. And I think, quote unquote, said the Marshal, that Hitler is hiding somewhere in Europe, possibly with General Franco. Now it's up to you British and Americans to find him. Then you can go off and see all the documentaries about him going to Argentina, him having a secret son with a woman named Charlotte, who is pictured here, both of them. Who Charlotte looks awful familiar once again. Now, I want to speak about Winston Churchill. There's a good documentary showing the images of Winston Churchill and the United States president walking through the streets of Germany after they was bombed and destroyed. It shows images of Winston Churchill trying to walk to the bunker, but halfway down the steps, he's so out of shape he can't even make it. So they take him out of a side emergency door and they have an image of him sitting down in the very chair that was in Hitler's study room. Also, it shows Winston Churchill being showed the gas can that they claimed Hitler was burned up by. But you know that if they captured him dead or alive, they would have had images and been throwing it all over everywhere, showing it off. Now, what's very disturbing to me in this study is the aftermath, the actions of these people afterwards. And the action was they broke down that territory into 3 or 4 quote unquote colonial zones, which is colonization. And one of those colonial zones they claim belonged to even the United States. So this had nothing to do with the actions of harming people. The aftermath or the conclusion was they wanted those territories. Now, everybody wants to speak about the actions of Hitler, but let's speak about the actions of what the Jews was doing in their practices. This is from CNN Health, Monday, April 8th, 2013. 2 more infants have contacted the herpes virus after undergoing an ultra-Orthodox Jewish type of circumcision, which has been linked to the spread of the potentially deadly virus to newborn boys. In the ritual known as Medzitza, after removing the foreskin of the penis, the person performing the procedure places his mouth over the womb, sucking a small amount of blood out, which is discarded. Now, does that seem right to you? Does that seem kosher to you? Would you allow a rabbi to put his mouth on your child's private areas? I think not. ABC News, March 9th, 2012. Baby dies of herpes in ritual circumcision by Orthodox Jews. New York City is investigating the death last September of a baby who contracted herpes after a ritual circumcision with oral suction in an ultra-Orthodox Jewish ceremony known in Hebrew as Medzitza, in a practice that takes place during the ceremony known as the breeze. And we done went over the rest of it with they nasty practices. The 5,000-year-old religious practices seen primarily in some Orthodox communities and has caused an alarm among city health officials. I don't care if it was 5 million years old. That's wrong. That's nasty. The Mohel who performed the procedure, Yitzhak Fisher, was later banned from doing circumcisions. This is a ritual of historic Abraham that's came down through the ages, and now it has met modern science. It was never a good idea, and there is a better way to do this. The modern Jewish community uses a sterile aspiration device to clean the wound in a circumcision. So why are they putting their mouths on it? Because you know why. About 2/3 of all infant boys born in New York City's Hasidic communities who are ultra-Orthodox are circumcised in the oral suction manner, according to Rabbi David Zwiebel, Executive Vice President of Agudath Israel of America. Of course, the community is deeply saddened by this terrible tragedy, he wrote. Now I'd like to go into the concentration camps, because you was taught that if you was a certain bloodline, he seen you as inferior and you was put into these concentration camps. When in fact, he even put in his own commander from World War I because he was claimed to be a traitor. So we have Captain Karl Meyer, and that was the captain to Adolf Hitler in World War I. And he sent him to be an undercover spy with the DAP. It was a work organization. But when Hitler got there, he started hearing all the civics and all the truth, and he received an awakening about his people being oppressed, and he found out that he was actually working for these people. Now, in regards to this Myers, July 1920, Captain Meyer was himself forced to resign due to his involvement in a coup attempt against the government. In 1921, Meyer joined the Social Democratic Party and was a defender in parliamentary democracy. And we know that's colonization once again. And he continued there until the lead up to Hitler coming into power. In 1933, after which Meyer fled to Paris, Hitler gave orders in 1940 for Meyer to be found arrested by the Gestapo, where he later died in 1945 at Buchenwald concentration camp. So he didn't go to that concentration camp because of his bloodline. He went to the concentration camp because of his traitorous ways. And what do you see on the images of the concentration camp prisoners? Black and white stripes, just like in America, no different. Which brings to mind, I watched the movie The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and there was so many contradictions in that movie. They should never be able to make a fictional movie regarding historical events. But I mean, from the beginning, you've been getting fiction. Now, it's a known fact that 50% of the quote-unquote Jews in Germany left, and 50% chose to stay. I repeat, chose to stay. But I ask you, why are they staying in Germany when they claim that their God gave them Canaan land, which was already owned by bloodline inheritance by the Canaanites, which they took that land as well? I wanted to close by speaking about PhD Walter Horn, who Hitler was wanting to use in his academics for the Anunnebur, trying to find different Celtic relics, right? He chose that he didn't want to participate, so he went to go get on a train and quote-unquote flee and go to the Americas. But the SS troops let him know, hey, we know who you are, we know you're trying to leave, but if you don't want to be loyal, leave but don't come back. And what did this man do? He went to the Americas and joined the United States Army and came back to help General Patton find the location of these relics that Hitler set in his homeland. And what did General Patton do? They wanted to take the relics, which General Patton ended up dead over this. But nonetheless, they took the relics out of the homeland, and he helped them do that. He helped foreigners take these relics that Hitler had setting in the homeland. And as I stated previously, they made colonial zones out of the territory. If you see someone drowning in a pool and you jump in the pool and save them from drowning, do you take their house and land over afterwards? No, but it lets you know what the main goal was. So next time you start speaking bad against this man, you need to realize maybe someone's hearing you that knows the truth, and they know that you possibly are supporting baby suckers. I leave you in love and peace.